What's going on there, YouTube? It's Gores here, giving you guys a deck profile for my Naturia Ishizu deck that I took to the regional yesterday. The deck overperformed everyone. Our overall record was 6-1-2. We took 16th place. We had two draws, which is a little disappointing, but that's okay. The deck, seriously, y'all, was so amazing. When more people understand the deck, I'm sure I won't go to time as much. A lot of people did have to get explained the new cards, but the deck was actually incredible, y'all. It was super consistent. Highly recommend it if you're a rogue player. This deck can absolutely body the Ishizu tier limit matchup, and it's just a lot of fun to play. So let's get into the deck profile. So first off, we have 3 copies of Naturia Camellia and 3 copies of Naturia Mole Cricket. Camellia and Mole Cricket are both our value engines in this. They're very recurable. Camellia allows us to send a Naturia card from deck to graveyard, while also allowing us to mill instead of paying the cost for our Naturia tributes once per turn. And at any time our opponent summons a monster, we can summon a Naturia monster back from the graveyard. Our Mole Cricket allows us to tribute itself to summon any Naturia monster from deck, and if our opponent controls the monster with the highest attack, we get to summon 2. So there's a lot of value in that, and the fact that it also summons itself back when our opponent summons from the extra deck, or if we summon a Naturia monster from the extra deck, gives us that layer of recursion that I was talking about. And then for our extra Naturias that we're playing the 1 Sunflower, 1 Vein, and 1 Stink Bug. Sunflower, Vein, and Stink Bug are just the best value engines that you can get out of this. Our Sunflower and our Vein allow us to negate our opponent's spells and traps, usually twice per turn, thanks to our Camellia. And our Stink Bug just allows us to basically smoke grenade out of a problem and just end the battle phase. So they both were really, really strong. Stink Bug being a level 3 tuner really put in a lot of work for me. So that was pretty cool. It's a very small monster package, only 9 monsters, and then the bridge between the Naturias and the Ishizu cards, Vernisylph of the Misting Seedlings. So what this card does for us is it allows us to search for any other Earth Fairy and then summon an Earth Fairy from graveyard. So that allows us to like grab our Mudora if we're missing it, or grab a Keldo if we're missing it, or vice versa, a Gito and Kelbeck, and then also summon an Earth monster back. So he definitely like let us just really get in there. So really super awesome card. Next up for our Ishizu package, we have a Gito, we have Kelbeck, Keldo, and Mudora. So we have to max out in this version because we're trying to play around the Ishizu tier matchup by using the Keldo and Mudora as a layer of interruption of shuffling back the tier limit monsters. So you definitely need to max out on those. And then the Keldo and Agito milling for us and triggering our Sacred Tree is just really important too. So the whole engine was just super solid, especially with this. And then our hardest matchup being Fluanderies, being able to make the rank 4s like Baguska and Dweller in some matchups just really, really helped. So really, really solid package. The synergy between these two decks is just incredible. Next up, we have the Herald of the Orange Light. So this is just a hand trap that we're using because it's the best hand trap to play with the Ishizu package. It triggers all of our Ishizus and then also allows us to play around Nibiru with the Naturia stuff. And then our last hand traps that we're playing is the Bestial package. This deck has more than just being a hand trap for us because we use it as material to make our level 10 synchros in this deck, which level 10 synchros are just blowout cards in this deck like Baron and Cheng Ying. Cheng Ying is extremely powerful, but we'll get more into that when we get into the extra deck. And then also just them being able to interrupt that tier limit deck, especially with how much presence was there. This card just overperformed all day. Helps in the Sprite matchup too. And then we have our Naturia Blessing and our Naturia Sacred Tree. These cards are in here because they're just not once per turn, so we have to max out on playing 3 of them. This is basically a Monster Reborn or Quick Sync or Fusion card, and then our Naturia Sacred Tree allows us to tribute an insect to summon a plant from deck, or a plant to summon an insect from deck. And then the most important effect of Sacred Tree is that it's when it's sent to the graveyard, we can add a Naturia from deck to hand. And the effect to search for a Naturia from deck to hand is not a once per turn. So however many times our Ishizu cards are milling this sacred tree, we're getting to search for a Naturia card, which is just super broken. And then also being able to send it off Camellia, and the fact that it searches any Naturia card so we can search our blessing is just also insane, because this is also not once per turn. So we can bring back Naturia monsters 3 times per turn with this card. It's just super, super powerful. And then we did play the one Called by the Grave for the last spell card, and we did run the Exchange of Spirit and the Gravekeeper's Trap. Gravekeeper's Trap being able to discard a card and grab our Earth Fairies, and the fact that we can just like discard a Sacred Tree, grab Camellia, and then grab Mudora or grab Arkeldo was just so much value in this deck. It was really, really good, helped in our grind games, and that's where people struggle against us, is our deck is so resourceful and recursive that like we just out-resourced everyone. So for the extra deck, we are running one Beast, one Barkion. Beast and Barkion, they're just the best Naturia cards in the extra deck. We didn't play the Fusion Monster. We probably could have, but I couldn't find one, and B, it just didn't really come up a lot in playtesting, so it just didn't really matter to me to play the Exterio. Those cards are just super powerful by themselves anyways. Next up, we are playing one Trishula. It came up twice in the event, and both times it came up, it won me the game. So like I thought about cutting it before the event, but I guess it was super powerful because I did resolve it twice in the event, so it comes up quite a bit. And then we played one Baron and one Chang Ying. So I want to focus more on Chang Ying here. Chang Ying was MVP of the day. Being able to like quick effect banish our Mudora or quick effect banish our Keldo, and then trigger Chang Ying to banish a card on field and graveyard during our opponent's turn was just like an insane layer of removal for this deck. So next up for the Xyz package, we played one Baguska. This is like MVP in the flu matchup. One Dweller versus the tier matchup. One Dugaris. So Dugaris is really powerful in this deck because we're milling so much. So sometimes like we see our Naturia engine off of the Ishizu package, and then we can just make the Baguska, bring back the Camellia, send our Sacred Tree, and just start going. So really, really strong. And then our last rank 4s that we played was the Utopia Prime. This might seem a little goofy, all, but this came up like at least 3 or 4 times. This came up so much because I would make the Utopia, swing, main phase 2, make Prime, and then make Zeus. So 4 material Zeus with Naturia Beast, it can be pretty intimidating to players. Or even the one instance I had where I had 2 Sacred Tree set and I made Zeus, blew up the board, added Camellia, added the quick play spell off of it, and my opponent was just like, well, that's just too much advantage, I scoop. So it came up quite a bit. It was pretty funny. Next up, we have the Ausa to take Fenrir. That was one card I regret not playing, was the Fenrir, y'all. If I made any changes to this, I would probably try to find room for that. And then the one elf, this is just lets us get another body on board and recycle our Sunflower, which is really obnoxious for our opponent to deal with. Kyrios, this came up a couple of times, and every time it did, it got me to access code, and that generally won me the game. You have to play this as kind of like our flex spot, so they definitely put in some work. So, and we can make Kyrios with ease. We play fairies, insects, plants, so, and they're all earth. For the side deck, my side, actually, I wish I had done a little bit differently, but this is how I ended up playing. So 3 Dark Ruler No More, 3 Evenly Matched, 3 Anti-Spell, 1 Appointer of the Red Lotus, 2 Neko Main King, and 3 Nibiru. I think I would take out the Neko Main Kings just because this deck is so good at beating the Naturia, or the Ishizu tier limit matchup anyways, so... But I'm definitely going to put in some more work in the lab for this deck. This deck is super strong, y'all. If you're a tier limit Ishizu player, watch out, because this Naturia deck is really powerful. So, yeah, the event was super fun, y'all. 6-1-2, baby. Top 16. We're going to Nationals again this year, y'all. Anyways, thank you so much for following along. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys check out Pow Manga Mats in the description box below. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon for a free monthly box tournament and free monthly box raffle every single month. This has been Gores, signing off.